Are you feeling stuck, drained, or just like you're going through the motions? These are signs that you are disconnected from your true self. I'll show you how to reconnect and really realize when you're disconnected. And it only takes about 3 minutes. Let's dive in. Okay, let's start with number one. You're feeling really tired. This shows that you are disconnected from your true self. And what I mean by that is if you're in a period of time where, let's say, work has you going and life, unexpected things happen, and you're just really busy, I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about, if your life on a consistent basis stays that way and you stay tired, this means that you're out of alignment. And it could be for a couple of reasons. One could be because you're saying yes, and I'm looking at you and pausing, to too many things. We have to learn the art of saying no. Because when we keep saying yes, we're giving to other people, giving, 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 and there's no replenishment happening. So of course you're tired. Of course you're exhausted. You haven't said yes to yourself, which is the main person. You need to say yes to you first. It's like putting the mask on you first. And I have a video for that, and I want you to check it out on the channel. But it really is important for you to give from a full cup. So that's one reason why you're exhausted, is because you're saying yes to other people and you haven't said yes to yourself, and you haven't filled your cup. You haven't learned the beautiful art of no, which is self care and love. And sometimes we say yes because we're trying to fit in, because maybe you're in a work environment that is really requiring you and you feel like it's requiring you to say yes, but deep down inside, you don't want to do that. You don't feel that it's right. It's maybe even not how you were brought up. Depending on the culture you're in, we have certain cultural rules and certain cultural norms that we grew up with. And sometimes when you go out to the main society, it doesn't quite fit. It's a little different, and you feel like you have to compromise who you are. And as a Black woman in America, I can tell you there are many times that I've walked into a job and I've had to compromise, all the way down to the things like my hair. People have scrutinized me and told me that it wasn't appropriate, it didn't look professional, I wasn't accepted. And those things really hear the sigh, right? Those things really impact you and your core and who you are. And unless you do that work of saying that's their stuff and not mine, and you're able at that time to stand up and say, no, I don't want to change my hair, it really has an impact on you. Because when you have to compromise something that you enjoy and you love, it does something to you. So maybe you've put yourself in those kind of environments that you feel like compromise who you are and don't value who you are. And so you have to say yes and give in those situations. And those can be very draining, especially emotionally draining. So when you're in those situations, you have to make time to care for yourself. You really do. And at the end, I'm going to share with you guys some tips and techniques that only take a couple minutes for you to kind of recharge yourself and reconnect to who you really, really are. But in those situations, it really is up to you what you say yes to. But my guess is, being tired and exhausted all the time, you're saying yes to too many things. And you might not be able to sleep at night because your mind is going and the to do list is going. And that means that we're just giving out too much. And you need to take care of yourself and you need to do some self love. The second piece I want to cover is, it sort of feeds into the first one. So the second piece is that you're feeling angry and you're feeling annoyed. And the reason you're feeling angry and annoyed goes into number one. You are not saying what you really feel. You may be saying yes to too many things that you really don't want to do. So here's the thing, when life gets overwhelming because we've said yes or we've allowed things to happen, that really don't feel good inside, we're not honoring our true selves. We're honoring other people. And you're telling yourself that you don't have value. Hear that. When you say yes to other people, but it doesn't feel right for you and it kind of doesn't fit, you feel like doesn't fit who you are, you're saying to yourself, to the universe, that you know what? I don't really matter. This person matters more than I do. And that's not okay. And that's why you're annoyed. Yes, I know someone might have done something or whatever the case is that kind of triggered the annoyance, but you really got to go deep inside and look. Why am I consistently annoyed? Why am I consistently bothered? Because you've created a life that doesn't feel right, that doesn't match and really light you up. You have done things and said yes to things and created things because it appeased other people, because it worked for them, because it was easier for them. But it wasn't really easier for who you really are. For example, if you decided, okay, I'm going to take this reliable job where I do the same thing day in and day out, but yet you're a creative person and you like to try new things and you like new challenges, but yet you put yourself in a job that doesn't happen. So now you're annoyed at the job because things aren't run right. They don't do things like you think they should. The people aren't the kind of people you'd like to be around, but you put yourself in that position because what you did is you said yes to financial security. And I'm not saying we shouldn't say yes to financial security, but you said no to your true nature, to who you really are. And there's a time in our life where that gets to be too much. When we've said yes so much to other people and so much of denying ourselves that we have to pause and say, wait a minute. I want to be my true self. I want to live my authenticness. I want to have joy. I want to have this really happy life that's fulfilling. Then you have to say no to other things. You have to create something else. And you may not be able to leave that job. And I'm not saying leave that job, but you may be able to create other spaces in your life where you have creativity, where you can do some more fun things. And it may not be in your work right now because you may not be able to financially step away. And I understand that. But you may need to create a plan where you can eventually step away, where you can actually find your joy and build that. But you have to think about this. Am I annoyed and bothered with my life because I've said yes so much to other things that really aren't in alignment with who I am, which really don't match my true personality? I've kind of had this mask on. I've been walking through this life and building up this facade. And I want you to think about it. I'm going to talk from my perspective. The only perspective I know is as an African American woman, a lot of times we have had to walk into jobs and we have had to walk into the situations where we felt like we had to wear a mask to fit in, to be accepted. But the real deal is there is another way, that divine way, that true faith and believing that the divine is going to protect me. The divine is going to guide me. And there will be future videos about how to know that divine guidance, to know about, is this inspired action? Should I be doing this? So that you really are walking in alignment with your true self and your divine and that divine feminine self, what the universe and God wants for you. Sign number 3 is a very interesting one because you may not associate it with you being out of alignment with your true self, but it is. It's kind of like that covert, let's say, sign. But sign number 3 is maybe you're tripping, you're falling, or you're forgetting things. Or you could have all 3 of those happening, hopefully not at the same time, but you can have those things happening. And why that's you out of alignment is because you're busy. You're busy being busy, you're multitasking, and you're not checking in with yourself. You're not present in the moment. And let me give you an example. It's like maybe you walk into a room and you trip over a rug. Here's the thing, That rug's been there for 3 years, and all of a sudden now you trip on the rug. There's nothing making the rug lift up or anything, but you wind up tripping. It's because you're not present in the moment. You're not mindful. You're not present in yourself. And when we're out of alignment, we're not paying attention to what we need. And so the trips and the falls and all of that are kind of trying to jolt us to bring us back into the present moment, to bring us to a moment to pause, to stop what we're doing, all the multiple things that we may be doing. We may even be multitasking at the time, but it really is calling us to pause, to check in, because you may be doing too much and you may need to focus in on one thing, or one particular thing is calling you, but you can't hear that. You can't hear yourself talking because you're so busy doing, once again, probably for other people and what other people are needing from you, instead of taking care of yourself, instead of checking in to say, what do I really need at the moment? Because maybe what you need at that moment is to pause and to take a break and to hear divine guidance. Because you may be thinking, I need to do all these things because everybody's coming at you asking for something. But maybe the divine is trying to get your attention. Maybe the divine is trying to tell you the easiest way to accomplish your goals or the things that you have to do on that to do list. But you can't hear it because your mind is going and you're moving. So you're tripping or you're falling or you're bumping into things, or you go into a room, you're like, oh, I'm looking for this thing. And you go into the room and you're like, wait, what was I looking for? And we have convenient phrases for that, right? Because we can call it a senior moment or we can call it a brain fart. But maybe it's time to pause because you're doing too much. And maybe you're not doing the thing you need to do for you because you're not in alignment. When we're in alignment, we move differently. We have a purpose. We walk somewhere and we know what to do. We know what we're looking for. We're actually probably singular at the time in what we're doing. We're not multitasking. We're doing one thing. And we're doing it well when you're in alignment because you've got everything lined up. Your mind is right. Your feelings are right. Your thoughts are right. All of those things are in place. Your beliefs are in order. All of that's in alignment with who you truly are, because you're not doing it for somebody else, or you're not doing it in a way somebody else thinks you should do it. You're doing it in a way that feels right for you, that you've been divinely guided to do. Okay, so let's get into some solutions to get you back in alignment. But before I do that, and before I forget, don't forget to subscribe and like and share this with someone you feel like can use this. Okay, so now if you're suffering from being tired, exhausted, drained, here's something you can do. Notice I took a breath. That's definitely one thing. But your nighttime routine before you go to bed, if your mind is really, really busy and it's racing, do a brain dump. Just write. And it doesn't have to always be succinct or, good grammar, none of that. What you want to do is just write everything you're thinking, even if it's the to-do list, like, oh, I got to remember to do this. I got to pick up this. I got to da, 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 da. Write it all down, whatever you're feeling. If something bothered you that day and it's still nagging at you, write it down. All of this, write it down until you feel like you're complete and there's nothing else in your mind. Brain dump. Get it out. If it's something that you need to remember for tomorrow to remind yourself, write it out, but maybe write that to the side on a little sticky note or something so that in the morning, just pick that note up and take it with me to remind myself. But really get it out of your brain. So that's one thing, is that nighttime routine. Do that. Find things that are calming to you. Maybe it's calming music. Maybe it's tea without caffeine that you can drink at night that make you feel really soothed and soft and warm inside. Lavender, chamomile, those things that you really enjoy. Oh, a chai tea, really good. But do those things at night. quiet yourself down. When the sun goes down, make sure that you're turning off the overhead lights. That's kind of symbolizing, okay, the sun is going down, so it's time for me to kind of calm down and relax. So if you have lamps, things like that, you can put them on if you're in the room. But that overhead light kind of symbolizes to us about the sun. And we want to kind of put ourselves in a rhythm that in the evening time, we're winding down. Because we know if we're well rested, we start the next day so much better. So that's something that you can do. The other thing that you can do is in the morning, give yourself 2 minutes, 3 minutes to just breathe while you're in bed. And maybe you can think about things that make you happy and that you're grateful for. Try that during the morning and the evening time. Now, during the day, and this will go for whether you're tired or you're feeling anger all the time. Deep breaths. You can pause, go to the bathroom at your job. If you work outside the home, if you work in the home and there's children, go to the bathroom. Get that break away from other people. Put your feet flat on the floor. And if you're outside obviously with your shoes, but flat on the floor. And want you to take deep breaths, belly breaths. Just breathe in and blow out. And if you want to blow out through your mouth and make noise, you can. If not, just blow out through your nose. And I want you to close your eyes. So if you're at work or wherever, close your eyes, go in a bathroom stall, close your eyes and just take those breaths and do it for a minute. And after you've taken the deep breaths for a minute, keep your eyes closed and think of a place that brings a smile to your face. And I want you to just see that place. Visualize what it looks like. See if you can remember how it sounds, what it smells like, all of that kind of stuff. Your happy place. Do that. And do that for, like I said, a minute. So you took breaths for a minute, visualize your happy place for a minute. Then you're like, okay, here's another thing that you can do as well. And you can do this either in the bathroom or wherever you're taking that quiet moment. You put your hands together like this. And what you're going to do is rub your nails together. And you're going to do it fast. I'm not going to do it on the screen because it's going to start to look like the Matrix. But you do it really fast and just keep rubbing that together. And you do that for a minute. And what you're going to find after you do that for a minute, and then you take your hands apart and you go like this, you'll feel energy. And by doing that, you're bringing up your chi energy, that life force energy that gives you energy. So especially if you're feeling tired and you're feeling drained, do that. You've kind of relaxed yourself by taking the deep breaths. You visualize your happy place. Now it's time to bring up that good energy, that life force chi energy. Something so simple that you can kind of do anywhere you are, whether you're working, you're at home, you're in your car. You can do that at any moment in the day. And you can do it several times a day. The other thing, if you are feeling anger and you're frustrated with life, you need movement. As women, we need movement because that energy gets trapped up in the body. So you need to move, whether that's shaking, whether that's dancing to your favorite song, but you need to move. Once again, if you're at work, you can go into a bathroom stall and shake. Shake out your arms, shake out your legs, but you can just shake and get it out. Shake out your head, all of that to kind of move that energy around. Now, if you're in a really quiet place or you're a place where there's nobody around, yell, yell, get it out, yell. If you'd like more tips like that, I have a self-love challenge on this channel. It is free. It is my gift to you. It is 7 days of self-love and taking care of yourself and doing things that are just for you to give back. Because especially if you've created a life where you're kind of annoyed and it's not fulfilling, you need to pour into yourself. And that challenge is exactly what that is and what it's for, is to pour back into yourself, to fill you up with love from you, for you, by you. So check that out on the channel. Now, Third, like I said, if you're feeling like you're forgetting things, you're tripping, all of that kind of stuff, we need you to ground yourself, to center yourself. So you can absolutely do the breathing exercise, the thing that I just mentioned before, or you can go outside. Walk on the ground. If you like to be barefoot, I'm a barefoot girl, but if that's not your thing, go outside, just walk on the ground with your shoes on. Touch a tree, hug a tree. Look at what the divine has created in this world. It is amazing and beautiful. Watch the animals, the squirrels, the birds, they fly around. They're taken care of. They're not multitasking. They're really not. They're just taking care of one thing at a time. And sometimes they're just floating, and sometimes they're playing, keeping it simple. The other thing you can do is think about your list and the things that you're doing, and you've got a lot of things going on. Is there one thing that you can take off your list for the day? One thing that won't stress you out, that won't make you feel guilty. So, again, that's my caveat. Because if you take it off and you're still thinking about it, or you're going to feel guilty, then it's not worth taking off. But is there one thing that really doesn't have to be done? Is there someone you can call and say, hey, you know what? I can't do this right now, but maybe I can do it in a week from now or 2 weeks from now. To take that off your plate, give yourself that gift because maybe it's too heavy. It's too much right now for you to do. Okay, so I want to end and give you some journal prompts. I love journaling because it helps us see things in a different way, and it also helps us get things out. So here's a journal prompt for you today. We talked about you getting in alignment and really going in and looking at your true self. What do I desire? That's pretty broad, right? What do I desire? But you can hone that in a little bit more in the sense of what do I desire tomorrow to be? What do I desire to be? What do I desire to look like? Who do I desire to show up as? All of those are ways of looking at how you want your tomorrow to be. But what would you love tomorrow to be? And you can make it your dream tomorrow. And then you can even hone it down into making it into, okay, I can't do all that because I have to go to work. But what are some things I can do to make tomorrow more enjoyable, more fulfilling for myself? And then another question is, how do I connect to the true me? Ask yourself that question in a journal and see what comes up. I've given you some ways and techniques today, but you may come up with more when you really hone in and really spend that quality time with yourself. So try those journal prompts, write that, comment below. Let us know what techniques that you've used to help you connect with yourself. Share it here with your sisters. Let them know what's really worked for you. I thank you for joining me here today. Thank you for allowing me to be on your sacred journey with you, and we'll see you back real soon. Take care. Bye.